Yeah, it says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Maybe. It's still. Hey, ladies, I can't see anything. This is crazy. Let's see. There we go. Can you see me now? You see,
I can see you.
see my fingernails I just got done? Okay. I am so sorry, ladies. I don't know, but that's life. So welcome to our Wednesday wind down, and I finished mine. It's been that kind of I drank my wine already, and hey, gotta pop another bottle sooner than later. So today we're going to talk about traveling during COVID. And a lot of you ladies are ones to enjoy, getting out and doing things and a lot more adventurous than me. So we talked about what could we do to provide some information that would create somewhat of a safety net or get you more prepared to go and even answer some questions you might have regarding traveling during this interesting thing we call COVID-19. So today our guest is Miss Judith, and she's going to tell us a little bit about who she is, her space of expertise in the travel industry, and then we're going to move forward and talk a little bit or talk about COVID and COVID schmovid. Some of us, we still got to get to moving, and as long as we do it safely, then it looks like the government is allowing us to move about. So tell us a little bit about who you are, your name, your business, and then we'll proceed from there.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you for having me here. I never heard of this group before, so I'm very excited to be a part of the group. Yay!
Yay!
I'm Judith White, and I call myself a travel expert. And the reason for that is we've used the term travel agent before, and sometimes that have a little bit of a connotation like, well, we can do without you. So we've rebranded ourselves and we call ourselves travel expert because we do offer a wide range of services that require unique skills. The name of the company is White Sand Travel, and I'm the founder of White Sand Travel 12 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, April 17th of this year, we celebrated 12 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we actually are experts in romance travel. And what that means is that we specialize in destination weddings, honeymoons, romance trips, those little trips that says, I love you.
Right.
Even though we do not, turn away anybody who wants, a regular vacation, but that's our specialty is romance travel. Right now we have 3 other agents that work with White Sand Travel, and together we have over 25 years of experience in the travel business.
Wonderful.
We do pride ourselves in luxury travel so that we want you to have the very best travel experience, not an itinerary, but an experience. Well, so that's a little bit about me and White Sand Travel.
Okay, well, and are you saying West Side Travel?
I'm sorry.
What's your travel agency again?
White Sand Travel.
White Sand. Okay. Okay.
So kind of a play on words because my last name is White.
Okay.
And what else would you like but be associated with white sand beaches?
Right. Okay.
White Sand Travel.
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about COVID, and it hit us like, when did we go through? March. When they said, what have you experienced? How did that affect travel? When you hear that there are limitations or restrictions, locally, certainly there was some nationally, so and internationally. So how did that happen? What happened with the business?
Well, first off, I'll be 100% transparent because I think people need transparency.
Okay.
So maybe like February, beginning of March, the buzz was around that COVID was pretty much something for us to be concerned about. But I wasn't necessarily as educated about the impact. So
Okay.
come March, and now, we're getting more information about COVID. We're getting more details and so on and so forth. And I had weddings and honeymoons and, groups, on the books for travel in 2020. And all of those bookings, just about, were either rescheduled for 2021 or
Okay.
flat out canceled. So we saw a tremendous dip in travel because not only were people uncertain about travel, but there was a travel ban. So
Right.
people couldn't travel. So it really took a real toll on, a lot of travel businesses. Some agencies have closed because we can't stay open with that many cancellations and that many rescheduling.
Right. So now we are in November. And
Mhm.
so we can see that things are starting to loosen up.
Mhm.
It looks like traveling in certain parts of the world are now permitted. So are you starting to see, are people rebooking? Are you starting to see people more adventurous? Or are you seeing people a little bit shy or still reserved in, based on the ability to possibly travel? Are you starting to see an uptick?
Mari, that's a very interesting question. And it's a combination of both. You still have some people who are very adventurous and want to take advantage of some of the promotions that are available now, because some resorts are wooing, guests to come, to come and visit, and so the prices are a little bit lower. And some people want to take advantage of that. And then some people are just tired of staying home, and so they want to travel.
Right.
And then you have some who are tentative and they don't really want to risk any, by traveling. So they are very, very tentative. But people are beginning to inquire. I do have several people who are now looking at 2021 travel and even 2022. So
Okay.
it's very encouraging now.
Yeah, we've all suffered in, I guess, just business, over everyone in some aspect, especially when it's a need to move about or be around people. So a lot of us have suffered through that. So,
Mhm.
so now that we are in the midst of resuming travel, are people asking you a lot of COVID questions? Are they asking you about hot spots? What they should or shouldn't do. Even with traveling on trains and planes, I think I don't know, people just seem to amaze me. I have one girlfriend, she's been a flight attendant. I don't know, is it 30 years now? And I'm always amazed at her endurance, even in being in that industry. But I'm also amazed at how foolish people act on these planes, So, and it seems like in the midst of COVID, they still are acting foolish, or some of them, I should say, or as foolish. So are you bumping into people? I know people have to be asking you those questions, because if I was to utilize your service, I would want to know, is this a hot spot? And then what do you define as a hot spot? And also, what are the testing? If I go there, are they taking temperatures? So talk to us a little bit about that.
Awesome. So if somebody comes to me and they're interested in booking, or even not booking, but just, inquiring, I take the questions out of their hands, so to speak. I literally give them information to help them with their questions before they even ask me. That's
Okay.
what a good travel agent does, right? You need to be educated enough about what's going on. So if somebody says, okay, I want to go to Jamaica, that is not the time for you to do your research. You should have information already, available. So if somebody says, I want to go to Jamaica, before they start asking me anything, I'm going to tell them they need to fill out a travel authorization. They need to have a COVID test. Well, their travel authorization needs to be submitted 5 days before.
Okay.
They have to have a COVID test, and I give them the information about where they can go and take that PCR test. And that has to be uploaded to the site. The test cannot be more than 10 days before they travel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
That's not, let me stop for a second, because you said a travel authorization.
Mhm.
So what exactly is that?
Good. So the travel authorization, and this can differ from, destination to destination. So let's just take one example of Jamaica.
Okay.
So the travel authorization is more or less like a health assessment. So it's going to ask you some demographic things, and it's going to also ask you some things related to your health. When that is submitted, they have a team that will evaluate those responses, and they will give you a response whether or not they think you are eligible to travel.
Okay.
That also means that it's not just the authorization, because you also have to provide that negative PCR test result, right? So together they evaluate that assessment that you completed and the PCR test, and they respond back to you within 48 hours and authorize your trip. You do need to print that document, because you will not be able to board the plane.
Oh, wow.
That. Yeah, that's almost like your little passport.
Okay, so when you go to the airport, they are international travel. They are you are expected to provide the travel authorization as well as your COVID testing.
Well, the travel authorization, they don't necessarily ask you for the test, because your travel authorization already looked at the fact that you are negative.
Okay.
So yeah.
And so did you say the testing has to be done no less than 5 days before, or no more than 10 days before?
No more than 10 days.
No more than 10 days.
So yeah, it's a little bit tricky, because here's the thing. It depends on how long you're going to wait for the test result, right?
Right, exactly.
So you don't want to cut it too close, and then you don't get the results back in time, for your travel. So I usually say to my clients, just go on ahead, and the very first day that you can have that done, go ahead and get it done, just in case it takes 4 or 5 days for the results to come back.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And I wonder, when folks go to the, I don't know who, who's on the, if we have any people on the live with us. I can't tell when we do it this way, but I wonder, are they taking temperatures at the airport? That seems a little tedious.
Sometimes they do.
Okay.
So let's just say that you took a COVID test 10 days prior. That doesn't mean that you can't be exposed during that 10-day period, right?
Right.
So let's just say that you get on the plane and you're exhibiting any signs of, being unwell. They definitely can ask you to take, a screening, or maybe even a test. So it's very possible. I advise all my clients that that could be the case, so that they're prepared in case they have to go through, an assessment or additional screening.
Are those, so I wonder, so what we're talking about right now is international travel. For national travel, people still may want to go to the mountains, or they may want to go to Vegas, or wherever local, nationally. Is the protocol the same? Or not the travel authorization, but is there anything that is expected just to get on a plane that you should be aware of?
So whether you're traveling internationally or domestically,
Mhm.
a mask is required to get
Gotcha.
on the plane.
Okay.
I usually go on the CDC's website
Mhm.
and make sure that the destination that that person is traveling to
Mhm.
is not a hotspot. So, for example, Florida. If somebody's going to Florida, we know Florida's a hotspot, right?
Mhm.
So we look to see what the guidelines are for Florida for that day because they will update information very frequently, sometimes daily. So I
So
want,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's really important for everyone to know that, and it's nice to know that there's, information is being updated daily when
correct.
it comes to travel.
Mhm.
So you may plan to go tomorrow and everything was cool today, but tomorrow it could be a whole different situation.
Right, right, right. So I definitely make sure that I'm getting the latest and greatest information about what that particular destination
Mm-hmm.
is experiencing at that time. And I have I call it my little cheat sheet, and
Okay.
I literally have information about that particular destination, and I have just guidelines. So, for example, you're going to the airport, um, have have your sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't handle the rails and stuff like that. Um, you know, I also tell my clients have the wipes that you can wipe down your tray table, your seat belts, different things like that. So I literally give my clients a little cheat sheet
Okay.
about some of the precautions that they can take. Try to social distance as much as possible. Um, from now until the end of December, Delta and some other airlines such as JetBlue, they are not filling their middle seats. So if I have an opportunity to book someone, I'm going to book them on Delta or another carrier that is not filling the middle seat.
So, ladies, I hope you caught that. So, this is what November. What is today's date?
November
4th.
4th.
So,
Mhm.
between now and did you say December?
December 30th,
Yeah. Okay.
31st, I think.
In
Yes.
December, that Delta and what's the other airline?
JetBlue, I know JetBlue and Delta for sure.
For sure. So
Mhm.
that's nice information to know, that when you are talking to a travel expert, that you can ask them. So, are there
Mhm.
airlines that are excluding the middle seat? Because many of
Right.
us would want to take advantage of that. So that's great. So
Correct.
Delta and JetBlue for now. Okay.
Mhm. And I will say that, and I don't mean to call this airline out, but American Airlines, they are not practicing that right now.
They are not. Okay.
They're not.
So
So
let me,
you will be put, if it's a three-seater, you're going to be put
in the
in,
three, yeah,
yeah.
traditional seating. I
Mhm.
think Tamara is, I'm sorry, Tamara, what did you say? The lady wants to know, will the airport accept rapid testing? Do you know if the airport, excuse me, ladies, will accept rapid testing?
I am not sure about that. And like I say, I typically go on the CDC's website and check
Okay.
the destination to see what is
What the
required for that
protocol is.
particular destination. And not only do I do that with the CDC, I also go to that destination's website and check and see what they require.
Okay, and another resource is the airline itself.
Mhm.
So I'm sure
Correct.
by you know, going to delta.com or JetBlue, whatever, that they have, I know they have protocols listed for the airlines. So and that's just something wise to do anyway. So you're not solely depending on one resource. You're tapping into your travel agent or travel expert, I should say. The CDC is always a good resource. And as she
Mhm.
mentioned, when you're traveling, and a lot of us are practicing these type of behaviors anyway. We're not touching like we
Right.
I stopped touching. It's just nasty anyway. I
Mhm.
used to travel a lot. And you get in the habit of using your elbows and to open doors and the back of your
Right.
hands. So those type of practices, but to use the airlines themselves as resources, you just can't miss with that. Tamara, were you asking something else?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, and so what are some of the popular locations that you're finding that the folks that are interested in traveling are going to right now?
Some people just want to get away.
Right.
And so it's places that are very easy to get to, such as Mexico.
Okay.
And Mexico is probably more popular than any other place. Why? Because you don't have to have the PCR test.
Really?
No.
Is that a good or a bad thing that you can go?
That's it's kind of up to your judgment, really, because for me, so some people don't want the extra, oh, I have to go get the PCR test. I feel safer having the PCR test, right?
Okay.
So it's a preference thing. Some people just don't want to go through the hassle. I personally feel like I would rather have the PCR test and know that I'm good, and that not just am I good, but everybody else is good, right?
Right.
So for me, I feel like most of the islands in the Caribbean are asking for a test. Mexico, not so much. They're not asking for the test. But Mexico from Atlanta is very easy to get to. They have a lot of promos going on. So it's very attractive to people who just want to get away.
Okay.
So that's the hot spot right now for traveling.
It's a great spot, but not the hot spot, right?
Well, yeah. Yes, right. Yes.
So what are some locations that that are published that you may want to avoid right now? You've been dreaming about going to Greece. I'm not saying Greece is a hot spot, but are there examples or locations that we could go and Google and you're like, probably not right now. I know, what is it? England? Is it? I get my geography. Don't talk about me, ladies. Okay. All right. I'm bad with geography and locations, north, south, east, and west. So what areas throughout the world that are, they don't want us and we shouldn't want to go? Do you know of any?
So I think the ones that I come up on often is England, Italy,
right.
France. Those are the main ones.
Right.
So this is just my personal take on things based on all of the information we get and things like that. I feel like, especially in 2020, avoid those long hauls. So I wouldn't necessarily advise a client to go to France or go to Italy, even if there wasn't an issue. Why? Because you're in the airport longer.
Okay.
You're on the flight longer. And sometimes you are doing a stop. So it's increasing.
What did you say?
You're doing a stop, a connection.
Oh, connection. Okay.
So you're increasing that likelihood of, maybe
exposure. Right.
Exactly. So I have people that I'm working with, and I say to them, let's see how first quarter does in terms of that kind of international travel, where we're talking Europe or we're talking, places like Tahiti or Africa or some places like that. Let's just see how the first quarter of 2021 goes, because one of the things that we're hearing is that with the flu, here comes the flu that is right back up against COVID, right? So, and the flu is supposed to have similar symptoms as COVID does. Right. So I feel like take that extra precaution and see how we do through flu season before you try to do those long haul trips. Right. So at this time, most people that I talk to, it's like, make it be, a more accessible trip and not one that you're in the airport longer, you're exposing yourself a little bit more.
Right. I'm also thinking about people with pre-existing conditions that and it's unfortunate, but it's better. I'm always, better safe than sorry. So if you are challenged with even high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, because when we look at at least those of us that are not able to pull through right now, there's an underbelly of issues that many people have, which makes their recovery that much more challenging.
Right.
So when you think about traveling on top of that, if it's not a necessity, all of the consideration that you could possibly put into that decision, I think should be made. So now for those that are, let's say they're okay, with their health is fine, and they want to go to Mexico. Are there any trips out there that are, I bet, is it cheap now to go pretty much anywhere you want to go?
I'm not sure if I would say cheap. So let me just say this as a little bit of a, I'm not sure, maybe I'll say it as a disclaimer. I don't advise booking trip just because of price. And the reason for that is your trip should be customizable to who you are, right? It should fit into your personal taste and lifestyle. So the reason I say that, let's just say, for example, I came to you and I said, oh my gosh, you could go to Mexico for $1,100. You're like, great, that's all wonderful. But there's no beach. You're a beach lover. There's no beach.
Yeah, I'm stuck up.
You may just not necessarily like that experience once you get there. Or let's just say you're a foodie and you go there and they have one restaurant and right,
inclusive one restaurant. Yeah.
So you definitely have, I feel like your trip should not be based on just the price. Okay, but I'll back that up though and saying I think of value, and value is not the same as price. So when I am looking at a trip for you, I'm looking at the best value. What are you getting for that price? Is it an all-inclusive? If it's an all-inclusive, do you have a variety of dining options? Do they have premium liquor? Do they have entertainment? Do they have activities? Are those activities included? Do they have different little perks? Some things people don't sometimes think of are those little hidden things that can cost money. Do they have free Wi-Fi? Can you call back to the US without a charge? So those little things are what I call those little extra added value.
And also safety, is, crime a big deal where, it might be 600 round trip and then you scared to leave your hotel. So, you're absolutely right. Just asking and someone such as yourself, that's wonderful because that's what you do. You think for us. So tapping into useful resources such as yourself before, for me, $1,100 is still a lot of money. So I just don't, I'm, like going to the grocery store to get some chips. So I still consider that, of value. So I want to know exactly where my $1,100 and what I'm going to get for it. And then, for instance, if you're traveling with your children, is it a child friendly? Because I perk up when I hear, the cost is not as bad as I anticipated, but there's sometimes a cost for that. So that's very, very good information.
Another thing to think about, Mari, is the flights. Are you going to have to take connecting flights? Does this flight get there at 11 o'clock at night? Do you have to get up in the morning at 4 o'clock to get on your flight? So all those little things, sometimes it makes a difference. You want to have an experience and not just an itinerary.
So, I'm sorry, we have go ahead, finish. You said,
But to answer your question, today I actually looked at a package
Mhm.
and it is to Mexico.
Okay.
And it's a 4-day, 3-night package, all inclusive, adult only, 4-star resort. And it was $1,450. And that included
Woo-hoo!
airfare. Mhm.
Wow. Did you guys hear that? $1,400 round trip, Mexico,
Yeah,
all inclusive.
including your round trip airport transfers as well.
Wow. Tamara, that is, yeah. What was the question? Did you have a question?
Yes, the ladies were asking, why are countries asking for a COVID deposit of like $3,000 for their travel in order to go to their countries? And this came from Robin. She was saying that Cambodia requires it, and other countries to your medical costs if you are to get sick there.
Wow.
I'm not aware of that. That's food for thought for me. I'll have to find out about that. I have not heard that. But then again, I haven't had anyone ask me
about 300 grand.
Those destinations, yeah.
Yeah, Cambodia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
It's very it's very interesting.
I wonder if you get it back.
I don't know, but you know what? That's something, Robin, we can research and post and have it available. You know, in the on the Facebook page for you. You know, information. We can do some homework and find that out. That's amazing. I just keep my little tail at home, or my big tail, whatever. I would just sit myself right on here. I gotta pay to get there, and then I gotta get some extra just in case I get sick. And then the other thing is, these countries that are asking for this elaborate amount of money, they better have a very good healthcare system. So I'm just, scary Mary. I'll just wait for this stuff to calm down. Because if you're asking for this huge lump of money in case I get sick, will you even be able to take care of me? So I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, so it's a lot to think about, but resources, this is good information. I'm not the biggest traveler, but when you talk about, I remember years ago, I flew into Florida and I was so excited about, staying in this beachfront hotel, right? I fly in at night, I get there. You talk about, what's the one with Norman Bates? What's that? Remember the the Alfred Hitchcock? What was the, girl, I was like, is Norman coming out? It was so creepy. And it was a hotel where it was, an outside hotel. Where,
motel.
I think I had water and maybe some crackers for dinner because I was terrified. And it was no staff. So I couldn't even have anybody. I stayed up, it was horrible. But all I thought about was beachfront hotel, and it turned out I totally did not enjoy it. It was terrible.
Right.
So
that's why it should not be unjust price.
It's the Bates Hotel.
The Bates. Thank you, ladies. The Bates. That's exactly. I was looking for Norman.
Yolanda gave me that.
Yolanda, thank you, Yolanda, because that's exactly what it felt like. So I think that's pretty good. Are there any other questions?
No.
No more.
All in awe.
Yeah.
The rate. I think she should mention the trip to Mexico for $1,500, $1,400.
So two things, Judith, before we start wrapping up. One, you were about to share something with us, and then we wanted to go back, talk again about that trip for $1,400.
What do you want to know about the trip?
Well, we wanted information again. You said it was $1,400 round trip to Mexico.
Right. Okay. Right. Would you like me to post? Would you like me to send you the information so you can post it?
Sure, we can share it with the ladies.
Okay, perfect.
So we can share that with them.
Absolutely. So one thing I wanted to share is travel protection. That's very important. Before COVID, we were able to have what is called, well, we still have it, but with different options. You could protect your trip and you could cancel for any reason. There's a package that is called CFAR, cancel for any reason. And we wouldn't ask you, why are you canceling or whatever. So long as you canceled X amount of time before your trip, you would be able to get your refund back.
Okay.
All right. Now, as many people probably know, a lot of the airlines are giving credits. A lot of, the suppliers are giving credit because COVID is not a covered reason for not traveling.
Oh.
So if you are, so let's just say though, a covered reason, you will be covered for a covered reason. And what is a covered reason? It could be because you're sick, somebody that your travel companion is sick, a family member is sick, or something like that. Now, those are covered reasons, and you can be reimbursed for your trip. However, you can't just say, oh, I'm scared for COVID, so I'm not going to go on my trip anymore.
Okay. So you got to literally be sick. You can't say I changed my mind because I might get sick. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. And then you have to document that, I'm sure, from a clinician, right? Or do you not? Do you need a clinical, like a doctor's excuse? Okay.
You do need documentation. Okay. You do need documentation. My rule of thumb is if you are investing, money that you cannot lose, insure your trip.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, ma'am. Miss Judith
My
White.
absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we had a very informative. I think I'm gonna get liquored up so I can travel. I'm such a chicken, and I get up on it. I had this conversation with myself every time it's time to fly. And then I get, I feel foolish once I get on the plane and actually land. But I'm just a very anxious traveler. Very anxious.
Go with Tamara. She's pretty adventurous.
Tamara I don't even know if she's human. I think she has a battery pack in her back. I'm gonna check her next time I see her. Because something is not right with her, this lady. She's too much energy. But anywho, so thank you ladies for showing up, and we had a good time, another good day with Miss Judith White with White Sand Travel. Right? Mm-hmm. Got it right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And so a couple of things for us no-mammers. Please invite your friends to be a part of this group, ladies, as y'all are being selfish. Selfish, naughty girls. You gotta invite your girls because they're gonna be mad when they find out about this and you didn't tell them. And then stay tuned because we're gonna launch the website very soon. We're gonna have a lot of goodies we're gonna share and have up to purchase. And No Ma'am After Dark. Judith, have you heard about No Ma'am After Dark?
Not yet, no.
It's kind of naughty. So if you ever, it's not kinda, it's very naughty because they're very naughty girls in that group. But we have a lot of fun. So No Ma'am, we have the umbrella No Ma'am. Then we have No Ma'am After Dark, and then we also have a fitness group. So we're trying to grow this group so we can have more people like Judith come in and give us a host of information and just have you guys loaded with all the content and good stuff that, can help us out. So just don't forget, ladies, we need more members, and I guess that's it. So look out for the website, and we'll see you guys next week. Oh, next week, guess what we're talking about next week? Speaking of No Ma'am After Dark. Let's talk about sex, ladies. Oh. Whisper it, sex. Okay. Right. That's so bad. They're probably like, why are we whispering? But anyway, thank you, ladies, and we'll see you next week, same time, same channel. That's what Batman says, right?
Yes, he does.
I'm old, but anywho. All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye, good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Just close your laptop. Okay.